Dunedin student Sean Markham is a remarkable young man who has not only overcome the limitations placed on him by cerebral palsy to become an award-winning discus and shot put specialist, he has been confirmed as Dux of King's High School Dunedin. Q Sport is proud to profile Sean in this, the first of two items.
Mum tells us you didn't like school to start with and you ended up Dux. You got to be happy with that.
Yeah, all the big achievement considering all the barriers I've had to overcome. Yeah.
And how did the other kids treat you? Are they?
At the beginning they were a bit apprehensive because they had never met anyone with cerebral palsy, but as the years went on and I knew what I could achieve, I just treated me normally, which, yeah, I find that cool.
Well, Carol, I imagine you're two very proud parents. This Dux is an amazing achievement.
Pretty proud, all right. Yeah, words can't express it.
Just give us some background on cerebral palsy. For those who know, what are the challenges that you've been facing over these years with Sean?
It's pretty hard to say actually, because firstly, when people say to me that Sean is quite severe with his cerebral palsy, I don't see it, because to me Sean is just Sean and I don't really class him as having a disability. But I suppose some of the challenges have been, like, first off was getting him to talk and to walk and just general everyday tasks that we all take for granted. So yeah, it has been a wee bit hard, and school definitely has been a challenge. Just getting the right stuff put in for him, like teacher aids and hours for a writer and just the funding basically.
He clearly has no problem understanding information, gathering or translating it or sharing it with us.
No, definitely not. We knew from a very young age that Sean was quite onto it. Richard built a garage for him when he was a little fella, and he had all these cars and he piled them all into different colours and then he sorted them all out. Well, nobody had taught him how to do that, and we thought, oh, this is pretty cool.
Well, Bridget, how long have you known Sean?
Coming up 9 years, so I've known him since he was a pretty wee kid, when we were first involved in heading away to games called Independence Games. We headed off to Christchurch a few times and he competed in those events. So, yeah.
What was your first impression of young men?
My first impression of Sean would have been wobbly. He just running races. He would you'd see him coming down the track, and often it was, you know, behind the other guys, and there was always a big round of applause for Sean. But yeah, I think I was always quite inspired by him, because for one thing he was out there doing it. He could easily have just been, you know, watching from the sidelines, but he's always been a great one to get in there and participate. So.
Just give us a brief definition for our viewers of cerebral palsy and how it does affect her.
Yeah. So cerebral palsy comes in a wide range of levels of ability. So you can have folks that are very high support needs. So they might be in a wheelchair where they drive it themselves, and they may need to be fed themselves if it's on the high end of the spectrum. But cerebral palsy works with the brain being the cerebellum, and it's like paralysed, so that's where the palsy comes in. So the messages from the brain going out to the extremity is just delayed, or just takes a lot longer for folks to do things.
So that explains why he academically is on a par with anyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. Just it's just his coordination is challenged, but yeah, definitely the cognitive ability it's right up there.
I've never actually enjoyed studying, but I know I have to study if I want to achieve my goals. But it's hard work, but I embrace it well, I think.
So you've now finished your exams,
Yeah.
and we'll just assume you've succeeded. What are you going to do now you've left school?
I'm going to Otago University just down the road to study commerce and law.
Okay.
So a double degree.
That's going to be a big goal.
Yeah, I have a reputation for sticking with big goals, but I always achieve them. If you put your mind to it, you can achieve anything you want.
And what would you like to do at the end of it once you finish your studies? You going to be a lawyer?
No, I haven't really thought that far, see, but my main passion is economics, so something to do with that, or maybe some advocacy, like sticking up for people's rights, yeah.
Okay, let's talk about sport and how important that is to you.
It's really important to me, like, it keeps me fit and how I feel like. And with my disability, I haven't been able to play my sports, such as rugby and cricket, but with athletics, I can compete with either and I enjoy it.
Well, I first came across him down here at the track as a junior, probably third form, year 9, year 10, where he'd come along and do the competitions, the secondary schools. He'd come along and do some coaching courses too that the Sport Otago would run, and I'd be assisting with that, so Sean would come along. And that was where I first sort of came across him.
He tells me you started out as a runner. Were you part of the conversion to the throwing events?
No, I wasn't, no. No, but he was down at the track competing on lots of things when he was probably that year 9, very small. He's not a big guy, so he was quite small at that stage compared to his peers of the same age.
He's taking on quite a challenge because fully able-bodied sports people struggle with the techniques of discus and shot put, yet he seems to be adjusting very well.
He's going very well. The session today went very well. It's maybe 2 weeks off doing some exams has helped him. No, he has. He's just working on technique. It's very difficult for him with the coordination and everything else. And he does it well, and a lot of the senior throwers I deal with still struggle. Well, when I say struggle, the technical points to try and get their bodies in the right position is quite hard, especially when they've got the implement in their hand.
Because it's a balancing act, isn't it, literally?
It's very, very much so, and because Sean's disability means that he's not as coordinated as a normal-bodied person. He'll pick up a big shot put and he'll put it against his neck and he'll bang the back of his head with it and things like that, or he'll drop it. So it is quite hard for him.
He's got very good vocabulary, so he's now getting very confident in speaking.
Yes.
For someone who must have struggled to learn.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think he really struggled to learn. It was just getting it out there and actually getting people to take the time to listen to him and make them understand that there wasn't really anything wrong with him. It was just his body that let him down. Yeah.
Well, one thing that is seem to be progressing is the sport. And he's talking about how he's getting better and better at it. Have you seen that, obviously?
Oh gosh, yeah. It's pretty amazing, actually. He's the only crazy kid I know that goes out there and does shot put and discus. There's not too many like him.
Very goal-driven. Where's that come from?
I would probably think that it comes from Richard and myself, because we're pretty stubborn and determined. And when Sean was first born, he was pretty sick, and then at 10 months they told us he had cerebral palsy, and they said to us that they didn't know whether he would ever walk or talk. And I still remember the paediatrician saying to me he'd never be any great athlete, and at the time I was thinking, so, I don't care. But he is going to walk and he will talk, and that just made me think, no, he will do it. And he did do it. And I had great delight in telling him a few years ago that he is a pretty good athlete, actually.
With some very lofty goals in both academia and in sport.
Yeah. So he didn't remember saying that to me, but he was pretty excited that Sean was doing so well.